Real baseball is happening now. Let's talk about that. Folks, welcome to the Baseball Brewhaha. And things I felt the anticipation starting to grow a little bit here. I turned on the Mariners here recently, had a night game, spring training, and I watched like 2 innings with my kids. A little preparation for what's coming in the season. We're not quite there yet. It is real baseball, like people are playing baseball, but it's not real in the sense that pitchers throw 1 inning and so on. But Adam, how early goings, spring training, we got a month left, but how are we feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I've been feeling the excitement, the build up, because it's like, yes, officially spring begins March 21st,
Mm-hmm.
but in my life, spring begins February 17th or whenever the spring training, when
Yeah.
everybody reports
Yeah.
for spring
Mm-hmm.
training. That's the start. So I'm in the spring mood. The weather here in Seattle has been very springy. We got sunshine. We
Mm-hmm.
got warmth. It's feeling good. It's feeling very, very good.
Yeah, we've been the same here in on the Front Range, Colorado. We've been in the 60s with sun. It's been nice. So I mean, we got it's not going to stay that way for forever, but I think I was looking ahead at like the 2 week forecast. We're arcing. We're arcing in the right direction. Um, but look at us, spring. So let's lob it out there early, folks. What's your favorite thing about spring baseball coming? Do you have a favorite part? Adam, do you have a favorite memory, thought, kind of whole thing with baseball getting going?
I don't have a specific one
Hmm.
other than it was just like this is the time when baseball starts up again. It's
Hmm.
any time of the year when baseball is happening, that's a great time of the year. And when it's not happening, it's a less great time of year. So those
Hmm.
months, November through mid February, it's a slog to get through the days with no baseball.
Well, and especially the weather's it's cold, and in your neck of the woods, it's wet and cold.
And
So
gray,
it's
so much
gray.
gray.
Yeah. So yeah. And before we dive in here too, we our office had lunch with another kind of brother sister office, whatever you want to call it, with our line of work. And I want to shout out Corey. Met Corey. I think we met once before, but we got to all sit down and have lunch together. Found out Corey is a big baseball fan, Rockies fan. So he feels the pain just like we do as
Yep.
Mariners fans. I mean, right now Mariners have been in sort of in contention, and the Rockies haven't. But the Rockies have done something the Mariners haven't, and that's get to a World Series. So Corey, thanks for inquiring about the show. I don't know if you're watching, but if you are, welcome to the area, and you can join the three other people,
Yeah.
parents included. So thanks, Corey. Appreciate that. So, um, spring training has brought with us something new. Feels like we're getting kind of new stuff added in, which in one sense is nice. They're trying stuff out. Adam, what is new, and how are you feeling about it?
The big one is the automatic balls and strikes ABS system where uh
ABS. I go analog brake system.
yeah. Yeah. So the automatic balls and strikes, if you're watching this, you probably know what that is, but if you don't, that's fine too.
Mhm.
Uh every pitch is tracked, and it can be um, it can be charted on where it lands in the strike zone or out of the strike zone. And
Hmm.
using that technology, players can now challenge ball and strike calls from the umpire.
Hmm.
You get two challenges, two incorrect challenges. You can challenge as much as you want as long as you're getting it correct. If you miss two, then you're out of challenges
For the game, right? There's
for the
just two for the
game.
game. Okay.
For the
Hmm.
game.
Yeah.
And so
So,
players are using it. So you got to tap the helmet. If you're a batter, you got to tap the helmet like pretty much right away. And same with catchers and pitchers. You can,
mhm,
call for the video review, and then it shows it on the big board in the
mhm.
stadium, show the pitch, and then they confirm it or overturn it.
Yeah, yeah. So my understanding is that the challenge has to be done like within 2 seconds. Like, so you can't sit there and somebody look at a replay. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta make the call right there, which I think is great. I think it's fantastic that it's got to be done like that. So I haven't seen a lot of it. I've seen a couple of replays. I haven't really seen it live happen yet, but I haven't watched a ton of spring training baseball either here. So, but I like it. I mean, there's some calls that are just terrible. I mean, awful,
Yeah.
dreadful. So, I mean, um, but it was interesting. I was listening to John Boy Media, and he's digging into some of this stuff, and he was talking about just that this could be a strategy where now you're not just studying the tendencies of batters, but you're studying umpire tendencies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this guy's really good on the inside corner, but he's gets real loosey goosey on the outside corner. So watch that. So if he calls it on the inside, you better not challenge that because you're not going to win that one. So
Yeah.
um, so that to me is fascinating. And he was saying, like, of course teams are going to hire somebody to now we're doing umpire analytics. I mean,
Yeah.
the data's out there already, so it's not like it's a huge mystery, um, but I'm sure you got now we've got umpire analytics teams coming into play here.
It'll be interesting to see where this system goes, how people feel about it. I think there is quite a bit of positive momentum for this to happen in some way. Um, though it's interesting to note too that in AAA,
Hmm.
this is how balls and strikes are called. All of them, not just
Oh, not just
challenges.
challenges.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. So
And I
they
don't know if
so
that's every AAA league. I do know that's the case um, for around here, like Tacoma Rainiers and the Salt Lake City.
so the PCL,
Yeah, the
Pacific Coast
PCO.
League.
Yeah,
Interesting. So how does that get relayed to the umpire, or does it just show up on the board?
it shows on the board, and the umpire sees the board and makes the call.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it was. I mean, I feel like I had heard that was coming, but yeah, that's really fascinating. Yeah, I mean, AI, it's taking over the
Hmm.
world. It's taking over baseball. So, and it's like, what? I mean, what's the umpire doing? I mean, I guess he's got to communicate to the pitcher without the pitcher having to turn around, or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, they're still doing fair foul
Sure.
plays at the plate, bunting as the batter in the box. There's plenty for the umpire still got to be responsible for.
Hmm.
Um, but they're really more decoration when it comes to balls and strikes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, in one sense, it's like it's tough because it's like in one sense, it's how it should be. Like, get it right. But at the same time, it's like, man, just the human element that you miss. Like, but
But
at
how
the
much
same,
do you miss
but
it? I was watching there was someone talking about the automatic ball and strike system, and then they were
Mhm.
showing some old footage of a Braves
Yeah, yeah. Marlin.
Marlins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
were you
seen that. It's
watching?
decent.
Yeah, with
Yeah,
Levon
yeah,
Hernandez versus Greg Maddux,
yeah.
and those calls were
Or-
bananas. There's
it-
like
It's like
12,
it's like an
18
entire
inches.
plate. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like almost an entire plate off. Yeah. Yes, so I do agree with you. I that kind of thing. But like the one that's like um misses the zone by the width of a thread on a baseball, and we're,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff is like, yeah, okay. But at the same time, it's like, at what point? Where's the line? Well, at what point?
Yeah.
Because you go from that to Levon Hernandez, pretty quickly.
Hmm. You
So
sure can.
yeah. So, or Tom Glavine. I mean, if anybody watched Tom Glavine in the '90s, dude, guy was a master at just knowing the umpires and just inching a little bit outside. Outside, he was. I mean, he was just a magician at doing that. So I picked up a book. When I go to used bookstores, I like to pick up a baseball book, just random, you know, see what I can find. And I picked up this one. It's called Baseball and Philosophy. I thought, yeah, that looks pretty interesting. Series of different stories and writings and stuff like that. So I just started into it here, and I came across this quote. I thought it was kind of interesting. And so here, I'm gonna read this, and it's talking about, you I was talking with Corey today, just about baseball and just how, it is um, very nuanced, and I think you still hear so many people. I don't know, I don't hear it that much, but so many people are like, gosh, it's so lazy, and you don't have to be a real athlete, um, which is bananas. To be a professional athlete and not have to be an athlete is I think it just, you watch what happens on a field and you don't realize how much preparation it takes to get to the major league field, and to stay on the field and without injury requires an incredible amount of work. Not to mention how difficult it is to hit, period, but hit like elite level pitching, fastball, slider, changeup, splinker, splitter, all the stuff that gets thrown at you. And so here's a little snippet of what he said. Anyone who has ever held a bat knows that it is almost impossible to hit Pedro Martinez fastball. Yes, it's going back to Pedro Martinez in his heyday, early 2000, late 90s. And that would be true even without the difficulty of accounting for the possibility that he might throw a knee buckling curveball instead. Most major leaguers who have successfully hit a fastball, however, will also tell you that they did so because they were able to block out just how difficult it is. You can do so. Here's kind of the phrase, question, the sentence I was left with. You can do what you know to be almost impossible only by forgetting that it is impossible.
Okay.
What thoughts you got? It kind of, so here's one thing that I was thinking about. This is pretty broad. It made me actually think of parenting.
Hmm.
So I was thinking about back before I had kids. And you think, I'd love to have a family, love to have some kids. But if you like think about it, you're like, what? I've never had one of these before. This isn't like a pet. Yeah. And not only it's like, and it's so in sort of difference with a pet, and people might disagree with me on this point, but like we have a cat, and generally speaking, like we give the cat love and affection, but my job mostly is to like feed it and make sure it doesn't die because of neglect. But like with children, it's not enough just to like just keep them alive
Hmm.
by not neglecting them, right? It's like it requires a lot of effort, resources, um, and helping shape them into their own person, to have their own values and their own, all these things that, they're going to adopt some of that from you. But it just made me think of that, of like how honestly, like impossible a task like parenting is, because, there's not the, I mean, you don't have a manual, you don't know what curveball is going to get thrown at you. One of your kid gets sick, or you have, um, some issue come up, or good or bad, that you have something that's life altering in that way. How do you deal with all that? So, yeah, I, I kind of open a little box there, but anything on that side, or are you thinking another direction of something Im- impossible? I think if you actually sit down and you consider, like, if you get too in your head about what it is that you're being asked to accomplish by being a parent, it will paralyze you with fear.
Yeah, it is overwhelming, and my yeah, I think my initial response is I think at the heart of what that quote is saying is that you can't focus on
Hmm.
the difficulty, you can't focus on the things that make it seem impossible or nearly impossible
Hmm.
to achieve. You just work at it. And, it reminds me of another quote ish thing where somebody said, it seems impossible until it's done. It's like,
Hmm.
it just like, it, it happens, um, he- when it comes to like what the author
Hmm.
literally said,
Hmm.
you know, I, d- I think the it isn't that you're forgetting that it's impossible, like you pursue it because you think that it may be achievable, and in the pursuit you have to like let go of those what's holding you back in order to pursue it. So it's less it's like it's a it's like an intentional forgetting or an intentional deciding not to focus on that aspect of it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and baseball's interesting because, honestly, generally speaking, it's not good enough to just be a good athlete to play baseball. Like, I mean, there's a lot of good athletes that can't swing a bat. I
Hmm.
mean, just not effectively. I can't throw effectively. Catching is difficult. Like, it just requires such a different set of skills. Um, and so in that regard, it's different from, I mean, every sport, once you get to like the elite levels, you can't just like show up. Like, even you and I, we played baseball, we played basketball. um, I couldn't even just show up to a high school game now
Hmm.
and like perform.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, at that kind of a level. So, um, you move up the ranks, but like when you think about like youth sports, soccer, flag football, basketball, like, if you can move around, you can participate.
Yeah.
But like baseball, is a whole nother beast. Like if you cannot figure out how to put the bat on the ball, it is going to just be not fun. It's not going
Mm-hmm.
to be fun. Fielding, throwing, all that stuff. It's a whole nother thing that requires the repetition required is tough for young kids. Young kids have a hard time like doing that repetition over and over. But anyway, um, yeah, it's just so. And to what you were saying too, I think it forces you to really consider what did like to actually ask yourself what does it take
Mm-hmm.
to do this thing. You know, it's that whole athletic. I can't just like show up and be a master at this thing. Like, what is it going to take for me to stand in there and hit that fastball or that curveball? Same thing with parenting and anything else that you want to be successful at in life. Getting, being a CFO, starting your own business. Like starting your own business is one of those where it's like, boy, that you would talk about an impossible task. Um, but
Yeah.
it's one step, and you're having faith and trusting that process along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Adam, in the spirit of impossible things,
Mm-hmm.
you have a pack of baseball cards,
I sure do.
and what's impossible is knowing exactly what's in there. Okay, so I want to try something. This is
Yeah.
impossible, but why not? What what
Uh-huh.
pack what pack are you opening?
We're gonna go Stadium Club 92.
Okay, so here's what I want to do before we do. Let's see if we can predict
Mm-hmm.
just one card at random. One
Okay.
player.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going with on in this one?
The first player that came to mind
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like might be in here
Mm-hmm.
is Bob Malachy.
Okay. Is that Orioles?
Orioles, yeah.
So I was similar vein. I went Orioles pitching. And I
Okay.
think that because one time I got two of this card in the same pack, I'm going
Uh-huh.
Alan Mills.
Alan Mills. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see
So
what we
here we
get
are.
here.
Stadium Club 92. Whip that open.
So Stadium Club 92 for anybody who may have missed it, um, in terms of wasn't around in the early 90s. Stadium Club like 91, 92, 93 ish, all look
Mm-hmm.
like the same. Anyway, carry on.
Todd Hundley.
Nice. Okay.
Kevin Gross.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's one where we're in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Orioles pitcher
Okay.
but
Hall of Famer.
Mike Messina.
Hall of
So we got
Famer.
the
Yeah.
Orioles pitching down here.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Morton, Scott Erickson.
One-time Orioles pitcher.
Yeah, one time. Lee Stevens.
Mm-hmm. He was part of the big Bartolo Colon trade,
Okay.
Montreal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And we're going doubling up on the Lee first name, going Hall of Famer Lee Smith.
Okay.
Pat Kelly.
Hmm.
Another Hall of Famer.
Wow.
Let's
Well, here we
go.
go.
Mariners legend
Oh,
Edgar.
that that's nice.
Edgar. Okay. And we're going Vince Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
We're going another Mariner.
Oh, nice.
Henry
Henry Cotto.
Cotto. Okay. Oh, this one's kind of fun. We're going Mariners brand new hitting coach, Kevin Seitzer.
Okay. There we go.
Carney Lansford.
Hmm.
John Cerruti. And finish it out with Dick Schofield. So
It is
no
impossible. It is impossible. I mean,
No Bob Malachy and no Alan Mills.
Yeah. Did it? Was that a pack that I gave to you? That I bought here and flew to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. I mean, the Edgar Martinez vibe. So, but by the way, I think maybe I mentioned this in the last show. I can't remember. Um, I finished the Edgar Martinez autobiography. Really good. Has a whole bunch of stuff on the mental side of baseball.
Yeah, you mentioned
Real
that
good.
last time. I mean,
Yeah.
connections there with forgetting about the impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. So, well, folks, thanks for hanging with us. A good time talking about a little philosophy. We'll probably bring a little bit more in this. As we get closer to the season, there'll be some more interesting things to talk about. Games will get played, and news will happen, and things will happen. We'll talk about some of that, but we'll see what we get to. Adam, is there anything
We will.
that you're looking forward to over the next week too in the baseball
I'm
world?
I'm always paying attention to my guy Corbin Carroll.
Okay.
Had a tough start to the season last year.
Hmm.
Spring training, he is crushing.
That's good news. Good news.
Or it's early and it's just spring training, but Bro has
Hmm.
got 3 bombs, hitting 600 with a 2.167 OPS.
That's that's major. I mean, yeah, like you said, you take sort of spring training results with a grain of salt, but there's no question that starting your spring off that way is a confidence boost.
Yeah.
Because if you start 1 for 18 and you're facing double A pitching,
Right.
that gets that can get tough on the psyche. So,
Yeah.
but I think most of these guys at this level, um, you know, they've been through it. They know they're working on stuff, and I mean, it's still. I'm sure it still gets to you. You're human, but but trust the process. Do the impossible. Thanks for hanging with us, folks. We'll see you next time.